All right, let's get into this. Because honestly, I am fired up about what's happening in Philadelphia right now. Before I even start, if you're a real Knicks fan, hit that like button right now. I mean it. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and I want more of you seeing this content every single day. And drop a comment below. Tell me if you agree with what I'm about to say, or if you think I'm being too confident. Let's get a real conversation going down there. So here's the situation. Ever since the Sixers got absolutely dismantled by the Knicks in the 2026 Eastern Conference semifinals, and let's not forget New York went on to win it all that year, Philadelphia has been on a mission, a win-now mission. And I get it. When you get embarrassed like that, you go back to the drawing board and you swing big. And swing big they did. They traded for Jaylen Brown in one of the biggest shakeups of the offseason. Then they turned around and signed LeBron James in free agency. LeBron James. At this stage of his career, sure. But still, you're talking about a roster that already had Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe, and now you're bolting on two more superstars. On paper, that should scare people. That should make analysts panic. That should make Knicks fans nervous. It didn't. Because even after all that spending, all that roster overhaul, all that noise, the experts still aren't buying it. ESPN just ran their predictions for the 2026 to 27 conference champions. And guess who they've got sitting at number one in the East? New York. Not close, either. The Knicks pulled in 68 points in that exercise. Philadelphia, a distant second at 51. Now stop and think about that for a second. This is after the Sixers added two all-star caliber players, and they still couldn't crack the top spot. That should tell you everything you need to know about how this league actually views the hierarchy in the East right now. And honestly, the numbers back it up completely. If you look at the head-to-head history, including playoff games, the Knicks have beaten the Sixers 6 times to 2. 6-2. That's not a rivalry. That's a pattern. And if you want to expand that and throw in the matchups against Jaylen Brown's old team in Boston and LeBron's Lakers, that record jumps to 10 wins against just 4 losses. 10-4 against the exact players Philly just added to try and catch up. So forgive me if I'm not exactly shaking in my boots over this super team they've built, because what the data is telling us and what the eye test has told us for 2 years now is that this Knicks core, the same core that just won a championship, is still the team to beat in the East heading into 2027. Period. Not maybe. Not we'll see. The favorite. Now, let's talk about something that honestly had me grinning from ear to ear. Josh Hart went on the Takeoff show with NBC Sports Philadelphia, and when they asked him about the whole debate, who's really the team to beat in the East, the Knicks or the Sixers, his response was basically a shrug. He said he really doesn't care about that conversation at all. Think about the confidence it takes to say that. Not we respect them. Not it's going to be a good matchup. Just indifference. Because why would you worry about a team you've already handled repeatedly? But Hart wasn't done. He went even further and took a shot at the city itself, calling Philadelphia an Eagles town, basically saying the Sixers aren't even the top priority for their own fan base. That is cold. That is ice cold. And you know what makes it even better? The fans backed him up without even trying. Reports came out that over 60% of the ticket purchases for Game 3 of that second-round series came from New York and New Jersey zip codes. Read that again. Knicks fans didn't just show up to a road environment. They basically took it over. Philadelphia couldn't even fill their own building with their own supporters for a home playoff game against us. And look, I want to be fair here. Josh Hart isn't some outsider trash-talking a city he has no connection to. This is a guy who's genuinely respected in Pennsylvania, especially after leading Villanova to that national championship back in 2016. So when he says stuff like this, it's not some random hater talking. It carries weight. And ever since he landed in New York, he has not held back one bit when it comes to going after the local sports teams in that region. So here's where I land on all of this. Philadelphia can keep adding names. They can keep chasing headlines. They can bring in every superstar available in free agency and think that's the answer. But star power alone has never been the Sixers' problem. It's everything around it. It's the fit, it's the identity, it's the culture. And none of that changes overnight just because you added LeBron James at the stage of his career. Meanwhile, the Knicks aren't rebuilding anything. They're not scrambling. They're running it back with the same group that just cut through the entire Eastern Conference and brought a title back to New York. That continuity matters. That chemistry matters. And apparently, the people who actually study this stuff for a living agree, because when it came time to hand out those preseason predictions, they didn't hesitate to put New York right back on top. So no, I'm not worried about Philadelphia. Not with LeBron, not with Jaylen Brown, not with any of it. Until they actually prove they can beat us when it counts. This is still our conference to lose. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment down below. Are the Knicks still the team to beat in the East? Or do you think Philly's new-look roster actually has a shot this time? Let's argue about it in the comments. I read every single one of them. And before you go, smash that like button if you're riding with the Knicks this season, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next breakdown. We got a lot more coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. That's it for this one. Let's go Knicks.